Welcome to Inside the Thunder. I'm KD Hudnall, and on this show, I go one-on-one with some of the most recognizable names in Marshall athletics history. 1,513 yards in 2022, good for 10th in the country. Also, good for 10th on Marshall's all-time single-season rushing list and 20th on the career rushing list. 16 touchdowns, good for 10th in America in 2022, and also good enough for 9th on Marshall's single-season all-time list. 302 carries in 2022. That was good enough for 4th in America, also 5th for a single season at Marshall, and 19th on the all-time list. He owns 2 of Marshall's all-time longest runs, 83 yards, good enough, tied for 6th, and 78 yards, good enough, tied for 9th. Today, we're going inside the Thunder with Khalan Laborn. Today on Inside the Thunder, we have Marshall running back Khalan Laborn joining the show. Khalan, thanks for taking the time to join me on Inside the Thunder. We're going to have ourselves a great conversation over the next 30 or so minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here. Hey, everybody.
Look, there is a long story of the Khalan Laborn story, and it culminates to this point with the Marshall Thundering Herd. But we've heard a lot of how the story started coming out of high school, going to Florida State, facing some adversity, and ultimately ending up at Marshall for that 6th year, right? And that's one of those unique things that doesn't happen very often. So we were talking a little bit before we hit the record button, but just exactly what was going on there when you thought to yourself, okay, look, I need to make a change. I need to change the scenery. How was it that Marshall even landed on your radar?
Coach Huff and Coach Lockett, and a little bit of Coach Trickett, they all, they was telling me like this could be like Marshall is a good, good landing spot to be. It's nothing but football, grind, and I felt like that's just what I needed.
Okay, so we all, as Marshall fans, and if you go back and listen to what we did on the ThunderCast when we were breaking down the running back position leading into the spring, everybody just thought this was going to be Rasheen Ali's team. He's coming back, a 1,400-yard rusher. He led the country in touchdowns from 2021, and we had no idea who Khalan Laborn was, right? We thought, wow, okay, this is former 5-star guy coming out of high school, went to Florida State, was productive there, faced some adversity. This could be a really solid backup punch to Rasheen. Then things went kind of awry leading into the season, but let's go through the spring. You arrive on campus. There's not the pressure of having to immediately be the number one guy, right? That's just not there. You go through spring ball, you go through summer camp, but what's the mindset? In your mind, is it like, I'm the number one guy, I'm working like I'm the number one guy? What's the mindset for you coming into spring ball at Marshall?
Coming into spring ball, like I knew, like, I got work to do. I missed 2 years. So I instantly was telling myself every day that I'm going to be the number one. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to capitalize in the areas where I didn't capitalize at Florida State, and just, put my best foot forward every single day. And not one day went by this past year where, I was just dreading it. I was thankful. I was grateful. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of every second, every moment I got in the weight room, in the conditioning, fourth quarter, spring ball, just tried my best, fought through injuries, everything.
Yeah, we saw that, I think, firsthand throughout the season, because it was very much a workhorse effort. We talked about that every week. It was like, man, for the first chunk of the season, we struggled offensively in the pass game, and we knew that teams looked at us and went, if they can stop Khalan, they think they can win, and they couldn't stop you. So it was this wild thing. It's like, what you got to do to beat the herd offensively, and you can't do it because this guy's so great. So you come out of spring and summer camp, you've worked your tail off, you've been preparing to be the guy, and then going into week 1, we get the news. It comes across the airwaves that Rasheen gets injured, and now you're the guy. So all this work, all this preparation is meeting opportunity. Now, does the mindset shift a little bit, knowing what is ahead of you for week one? Walk me through game week one into Saturday against Norfolk State, which is actually a hometown-ish type team for you. So
Yeah.
what's the mindset at that point? Because something shifted.
To be honest with you, I still had the same mindset I had coming in, January, winter workout, spring ball. It was just more of just like, dang, if I lost a step, because it's been 2 years, remind you, like it's
Sure.
been 2 seasons, and then I had injuries. So it was just like, it was just like, all right, now you get the opportunity. Now it's finally here. Now it's just you got to put everything that you know what I'm saying, you told yourself, just go out there and show it. And no, nothing really shifted. It was just more of like, it was just, I felt like that was like the ultimate test to see if, like, I still have it far as a player missing 2 years of football. Because I don't think it's easy for a player to miss 2 years of college football and then come back and almost make it seem like they didn't miss a step.
Mm-hmm.
So I just that's what my mindset was with that.
Yeah, what I meant by something shifted was I meant that Rasheen had gotten injured, so that changed. That was now a weapon that wasn't going to be available for the Marshall offense. So that was a big change because now we think, oh no, we knew what we had with 1,400 yards and 20 some touchdowns, and we didn't know. We have Khalan Laborn, who we're expecting to be a really solid contributor. Nobody saw 1,500 yards on the hurt. You might have seen it, but none of us as fans saw that because we didn't, for lack of a better term, we just didn't know you, right? You came from
Yeah, it's usually
Tallahassee.
that's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's no disrespect intended. It's just like it was a question mark. We just didn't know. Now, are we
Totally.
happy as hell? Hell yeah, we're happy as hell the way it turned out. We're happy as
Yeah.
hell that you ended up here. And that number 8 jersey will be talked about for a long, long time. And with that, moving in to week 2. Now, we're not going to go week to week here, but we're not going to sit here and talk to one another and not talk about Notre Dame. Okay. You're in Tallahassee. You've been to big stadiums. You've been in big venues, seen big games, participated in big games. That's not really the same type of schedule that we have in Huntington a lot, especially when you talk about teams like Notre Dame. So Marshall has this huge opportunity against a top 10 team. They hadn't beaten a top 10 team in 20 years, 19 years. So you're going to South Bend, Indiana, one of the most historic venues in all of college football, and you go in and churn out a signature chef's kiss performance en route to a massive upset in the college football world. Those in the locker room might not have thought it, right? Of course, you think you can beat anybody, but in the world of college football, that one shook the earth a little bit. So tell me something, tell me a story, anything from Notre Dame week, something that you recall happening, a play call during the game, something that will stick with you whenever you think 20 years from now about that week playing Notre Dame. That's the first thing that you're going to go to, and it'll always make you smile.
For the first time ever, I felt like I was actually sick the day of a game. Like, actually, I wouldn't say nervous, but more anxious. But like just me vomiting because, like, wow, like it's been 2 years. Like, I had my first game last week and it was okay. It was an okay performance. Um, and I was just like, I don't know, like it was just one thing that I remember is just going out there and just laying whatever I had in me to show that I can do this just as good as any other running back in the country. Um, just lay it all out there that day. But definitely the morning though, for sure. Definitely the morning.
I thought you were going to give me some like Michael Jordan flu game vibes. Like I had the flu and I fought through it, and it was. I can understand where you're coming from though. It's this anticipation, it's this anxiety. It's like this big moment is here after a 2-year layoff and all this work I put in, and I have an opportunity. And damn, if you didn't seize that opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean. I feel like the anxious came in where I was like, I would be upset with myself if I didn't seize his opportunity. So I was just like, I'm gonna seize it. Like that's probably what caused it really when I woke up. From the moment I woke up at like 6 or 7 a.m. and the game wasn't until later. Maybe I probably woke up earlier than that. I just can't remember. I just remember going straight to the bathroom after I realized, oh, it's game day. We're about
Oh
to play.
yeah.
We're about to play a number 8 team in the nation on the board. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a big one. God, that was so great. To me, you had great runs all year. And I mentioned some of those in the intro. The 83-yard touchdown run, tied for sixth longest in program history. The 78-yard run tied ninth longest in program history. This is a one-year stint, and you've got two of the top 10 longest runs in program history, right? But to me, despite all these great runs, all the hard yards, all the rough 3rd and 1s that were picked up, the signature play to me will always be the 42-yard run against Notre Dame, where you have to put your hand on the ground twice during that run. And the whole time I'm thinking, this is amazing. I can't believe what I'm seeing. They can't stop this guy. And we've talked many, many times about if he can just not do it twice, if he only has to put his hand on the ground once, that's going to the house. So, do you remember that run in real time? Does it play through your head?
I remember it so blatantly because I remember warming up and I was like, this weird. Like this turf feels like we're on like clouds. Like it's real light. Like we're cutting and we're slipping. Like we're instantly in warm-ups. So I'm like, okay, you got to cut lightly. So when that run came, or when we called the run, the inside zone, I was like, okay, I'm running. I see open green grass. If I just turn it into a track meet, it's going to be different. But then
Yep.
I just saw the guy closing in. I just seen an open window in between him and another player, or the next player that I was going to make miss. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna take that because it seems like he's closing in pretty fast, and he's committed to me. He think I'm gonna turn it into a track race. So I was like, okay. Boom, juke. I'm like slip. I'm like, okay, cool. Like don't slip the second time because you know the ground is soft. And dude came, and I guess I just cut a little too sharp or cut it a little more than I anticipated myself. And that's when I guess I just slipped and I was ready to pick my feet up and just start, turning into a track meet after that second juke. But I ended up slipping again. I was like, shoot. I instantly felt it. I was like, and I tried to pick up, and then I just made sure that I didn't have to make another person miss. So then I just kept running. And then the next you know, there's like 3 gold helmets near me. So I'm just like, oh, shoot, just brace for contact, to cover the ball with 2 arms and just take what the defense give you type deal.
It was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I heard you say inside zone. Was there, did they come into the huddle and go, okay, inside zone? Or is there a particular like play call name? When they call that in, what is that?
I mean, we have a particular play call, and I don't know if they got the same play call now. So I don't really want to say that. But I do remember we were trying to hold on to the ball, just keep pounding the ground and just get in the end zone. And just keep it on our side, keep the momentum on our side with everything.
Yeah.
So really, that play was just like I just brought it out. Like it was all instinct, and it was definitely gonna be one to remember.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly, because I'm that nerd that goes back and watches YouTube videos from plays from 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I've probably watched that run, I'm going to say about 20 times this year. So it's just one
Hey,
of
I
those things.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I mean, because those make me feel good, and I'm not the only fan that does that. We go back and we watch the plays that we remember. I was a student at Marshall in the MAC era. My freshman year was our first year of FBS ball, 1997.
Mm.
So I remember all those MAC championships and then the transition to Conference USA and now here in the Sun Belt. So there are so many plays that just I go back and watch them and I'm like, man, it still makes the hair raise on my arms because it feels good. It makes it means something, to Herd fans.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate every other Herd fan that watches that
Yeah.
and just get good feelings from it. I really do, because it was a while before, like, I even made a play like that. Because I remember at Florida State, my first time touching the ball, I had made, Sports Center like top 10 with the juke I had against VTech. But just, just knowing like you got fans out there that really likes your gameplay, admires it, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I mean, you talked about it. You talked about it just before we hit record that Marshall was a special place, and you knew that it was a place you wanted to be because everybody's just kind of real here. And you've heard coaches talk about it. You've heard other players, alums, whoever, people in the media, that it's special at Marshall. The football program in the town and the city and the college, the university are just intertwined in such a way that doesn't exist anywhere else. And we really do think of our athletes as family, not just football players, but all of our athletes. We think of them as family. We want them to succeed in life. You and everybody else that I will eventually talk to on this show, they're more than just a player to me. Some of them were classmates, some of them are, but we want people to go on and achieve, no matter what that means in life, right? If it's pro sports, it's pro sports. If it's business, whatever it is. We just want Marshall to be that step that propels you to the next level of your life. So let's talk about the season as a whole. Marshall ends 2022 9-4, Myrtle Beach Bowl champions, right? That was pretty cool.
First time winning the championship in football.
What? In your career? Ever?
I didn't win states. I didn't win I didn't win high school states. I didn't win middle school states, I guess. I didn't even win a Pee Wee League championship before ever. Yeah.
Wow. Now that to me is kind of wild, but I'm in the same boat. I never won anything either. even my high school won 2 state championships the year before I got there, and then didn't the year they were heavy favorites. So
I feel you.
But I will take that back. Now I take that back. At Marshall, we won a lot, but I wasn't a player. But while I was a player, when in my playing days, I never won a championship. But as a student, we won a metric shitload of championships at Marshall. But anyway, you get the Myrtle Beach Bowl championship, a win over the number 8 team in the country on the road. I don't know if you know this. You probably know your stats, but I'm going to toss some rarefied air type stuff at you. You finished the season. Okay, you finished the season obviously with 1,513 yards, 16 touchdowns on the ground, and 302 workhorse carries. That makes you one of 5 running backs ever to top 1,500 yards at Marshall, one of 8 running backs ever to top at least 16 rushing touchdowns in a season ever, and one of only 3 to carry the ball 300 times in a season ever. That, my friend, is rarefied air. So you talk about going to work every day, looking forward to it, never sweating it, always appreciating the opportunity, and you turn in things like that. Top 3, top 5, top 8 ever. And there have been some prolific runners at Marshall University, let me tell you. So when the season ended, before you get into this next phase that you're in, training, preparation, what did you say to yourself when you look back, you reflected back on what you and this team were able to accomplish in 2022? When you took a breath, what did you say to yourself?
I'm just thankful and just wish I could have cherished it a little more, just when you're working hard, playing hard, it's almost like it's kind of hard just to be okay with what you achieved. But it's a never ending cycle, So it's like I'm just thankful and just thankful, man. Just wish I could have cherished it a little more with my teammates.
Yeah, I understand that. I can get that. You get so caught up in the work, you get so caught up in maximizing the opportunity that you forget to enjoy it. But
truly.
But the good thing is you have the rest of your life to enjoy Marshall University in whatever capacity that turns out to be. And we'll talk more about that before I get you out of here. Believe me. But this is where I want to get a little insight from the mind of an athlete being through the process. Your story is unique because of a lot of adversity, highly recruited, how it culminated at Marshall, the numbers you posted, like it was very much like this and ended on a really, really huge upswing, and that's a Hollywood type thing. The guy faces all the adversity and ends up winning in the end, and it's an amazing story. I really enjoyed watching the trajectory of 2022 for you. I wish I knew the complete story. I wish I was, from that Tidewater type area, and I knew who you were coming out of high school, and I could follow it from then, because that would have been something to follow firsthand. Really, it really would have been special.
I can tell you this: I grew a lot, maturity wise, and just um, not taking things personal, but just understanding that if something's said to you, it's said for a reason, and you just it's on you to take that and run with it and help use it as like motivation to help build yourself. So I feel like, you saw, it would have been different, known, I guess, something, and know me like from, if you was from the Tidewater area, but you would have seen that growth for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'd like to have known. I'd like to have been able to witness that full circle, because we got the Cliff's notes before you got to Marshall, and then we got the best part, because we got the success story. So I feel like we got spoiled a little bit. We didn't truly get an idea or an insight into all the work before coming to Marshall, right? To what led to this motivation, this level of motivation, this mindset that we all just got to sit on a bleacher on Saturdays and go, look at Laborn go for another 130. This is amazing. They can't stop this guy. That's what we got as Marshall fans. I'm spoiled on it, and I love it. But I think I would have enjoyed the whole story. But based on what you just said, this is a great time to put this question in. What advice would you give to your freshman self or your high school senior self based on what you know now? Because there are guys out there that are dealing with the same type of stuff.
Man, freshman year of high school or freshman year of college?
No. Like senior going through the process, and then your freshman year of college, that time in your life, that 1 to 2 year period where it's a lot of change. You're going through the recruiting process. You think you know where you want to be, then you're there, and however it goes, it goes. What you know now, what would you tell that kid now?
Well, senior year of high school, first and foremost, I would have told him, don't make the decision by yourself. Yeah, it's gonna be you doing it every day, but knowing that you got people in your corner that help you make the right decisions for things, such like going to college, like that was probably the biggest decision I made in my life, I feel like. Um, so I would have told him, just, make sure you talk with your mom, uncle, grandma, older brother. My older brother helped me. He's the reason why I'm into football. Like, he pushed it on me and my little brother as a youngins. So I would tell my senior year self, make sure you go through the process of picking your school with the ones that you trust the most, and just continue to keep working. And there's gonna be a light at the end of the tunnel. Freshman year self, I would tell them, don't say nothing. Keep work first. Keep work, school first. Um, and just when an adult, or not adult, when um someone at a higher level than you, and they've been to where you're trying to go, they tell you something, listen. Don't feel like you got an answer. Even if you do have the answer, don't say that. Just say yes, sir, and just take in what they told you. Just think on it, and just try to apply it to the next day. Um, but yeah, that's all I would say is just, stay to yourself. Don't follow the crowd. Don't If you feel like it ain't right, then it ain't right. But just always keep work first. Work comes before playing. So, just that, I guess.
Dang, that's good. That's good stuff. There might be a kid that hears that goes, okay, I needed somebody to tell me that. You know, I've had that. You've had that. You knew it all along. You just needed somebody else to tell you, right? And maybe you're that guy for somebody right now. That's excellent advice. When you look at it now, you have 1 year in Huntington, and it's I mean it's a season for the ages. But season aside, football aside, what is it about Marshall that holds a special place to you? What is it about Marshall that is special to you, I guess I should say?
Man, what's special to me about Marshall? Just to be honest with you, like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Just accepting me. Um, just accepting me and just believing that, like, even though y'all didn't have no idea like what was gonna happen after Rasheem went down, just accepting me with open arms after, like, y'all see me play maybe the first or second game of the season, and even the third game, because things happen. You're not gonna win them all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just accepting me and just showing love. And every time I came out to the stadium before or after the game, there was always someone that was willing to talk to me or wanting to talk to me, you know, and just tell me how, like, good I played. And sometimes, and beyond even some dubs, I did not, even in some games that we won, I didn't feel like I played my best game, or I didn't feel like that was I feel like I gave my best effort, but it just didn't show on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And just, the fans just coming up to me after every game saying, like, we think you played great, better than I would have, or great, great game. Like, we thought you played excellent. We thought you were the best player in the field, or something along those lines. I'm just really appreciative of that, if it, out of everything, really, and just accepting me.
Yeah, that like I said before, Marshall's special place, and we treat our players and our students like family as much as we can, and that's, I think, really why it is very special. I got two more for you, and then I'll give you your day back. Even though it's only been 1 year, this is going to be a staple question. You were only at Marshall only for one season, but this is going to be a staple question for everybody that comes on Inside the Thunder with me, because all good players like to put some shine on their teammates, right? Nobody does anything alone. So
Never,
who's
never.
so who's that guy? Who's the one guy, two guys maybe, that will never get the full amount of credit that they deserve in your eyes?
I'm To be honest with you, it's a lot. Um, for one, for sure, my offensive line. Because it's really, and like you said, one person, but really that group helped me be where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's never really all it was. It's never, what I'm saying. It's never about me. So I can't just say one. I can't just say Trent Holler. You know,
Fair. Yeah.
Lloyd Osborne and the rest of them, like, they all came together, made sure, what I'm saying, they helped me up. And then another, and then someone, and then the defense. Like, I can't really just say one person, but if I had to really say someone from defense, it's Kobe Cumberlander. Um,
So so wait, Kobe was a very high performer and very well respected amongst fans. So what is it that we might not know about that makes you think he'll never get the credit that he properly deserves?
I
Is it
don't
locker
know.
room stuff? Is it leadership stuff? Like just stuff we don't see?
I'm not saying he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I just thought, like, maybe, I don't know, like, cause he chose, cause, like, maybe, like, there's players out there, maybe there's DNs out there in the draft now that are, what I'm saying, hot, like, being highly, they got high profiles.
Sure.
I feel like Kobe Cumberlander should be up there with those people if he chose the football, if he chose to play in the NFL. Um, I feel like he would have been one of those guys that should never be denied, simply because of, they, like you said, their work ethic, leadership. Like, there would be times on the field, Kobe would make a play, and just seeing his action on the jumbotron, on the big screen, just seeing him get hype after every sack and doing his signature bow after every sack, it would just get me so pumped. And, like, even in the weight room, like, I see Kobe do something, I would try my best to either do it or match it. It was like
Yeah.
we matched each other's energy when it came to this game of football, and this thing of putting in work, putting in grind, and just shutting up and just doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, Kobe is one of the players on defense, and then on offense, I say the whole offensive line.
Yeah.
They,
Those guys were great. I mean, if they don't open holes, you don't run. You know that we know that.
exactly, exactly.
I mean, you run, you'd be running for your life because there's people coming at you, but it's all right. We know that they were That was a unit that we were had a little bit of a question mark beside, because from the year before we had lost 3 all-time greats off the offensive line. So it was a reworked offensive line, and we were like, okay, are they going to be up to par? And man, like I said in the beginning of this, nobody saw a 1,500-yard performance from a guy we knew nothing about, and very quickly we saw, okay, there's something special here. This offensive line can open some holes. This guy can attack those holes, and he's as quick as a hiccup. He's gone. If he gets to the second level, he's gone. You have an amazing mix of power and speed and finesse that I don't think a lot of backs have. And then when you take into account being a 2-year layoff, and like you said, making it look like you didn't take any time off, that really is just what takes this to even higher level, because it's more astounding that you're able to do that. It looked seamless. It looked like you had no time off, but what is next for Khalan Laborn?
Well, what's next for Khalan Laborn is the pro day, and then just keep putting in work at Athlete Innovations, and just staying ready. Pro day, probably go back home, probably come back here to train, stay ready for whatever happens after the draft day, and then just go from there.
Awesome. And we, of course, are going to be following and throwing all the support we can. I mean, it's just been a historic season. 2022 was a historic season, and you are a huge part of the success of that season. I don't think anybody can take that away or deny that. We wish nothing but the best, and we will be following. Believe me, we will be following. It was just too special to turn away from. And when your time with the herd is done in a playing uniform, your time with the herd is not done. So now you are a son of Marshall, and you are a son of Marshall forever, just like me.
Glad to be.
Let me give you an opportunity to have some final thoughts of your own before we get out of here.
Well, I just want to say, thank you for having me on here. Once again, and I tell Coach Huff, Coach Locke, and Coach Trickett this all the time. Thank you for bringing me in. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for giving me, or not giving me. I earned it, like Coach Huff said. But
there you go.
Just bless me with even seeing the opportunity to put myself in the position that I am in now. Because around this time, 2-3 years ago, I was worried out of my mind. Like, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I gotta, I already know I'm gonna miss 2 years. So it's just like one of those things where, like, you just ride on faith, and you ride on faith, and you trust that you're going to put the work in, trust that you're going to, be consistent, do what you're supposed to do, be where you're supposed to be at. And I just thank them for, just trusting that I do that for them, and I forever love the Herd 2022 team. Forever, probably the best team I played on, so. Because I played with a lot of good guys, that didn't get the opportunity at the next level, or the NFL level, but they were some good guys. But this past season, I'll never forget them boys, and I love them boys to death forever.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show. This was 100% my honor, my privilege to have you and speaks to you and spend a little bit of time with you. Learn your story as only you can tell it, right? Because that's what it's all about, man. I can read all the newspaper articles and listen to all the podcasts, but it's just not the same until the guy tells his story in his own words. So thank you for trusting me enough to come on and talk with me a little bit, being candid with me. I mean, this is great, man. I really appreciate it. Anytime you happen to find yourself in Huntington, West Virginia for a Marshall football game day, you must get in touch with us, because we want you at the ThunderCast Tailgate. We'll have plenty of great food. We'll have plenty of cold drinks, and we'll have ourselves a great time. You're always welcome over at the ThunderCast Tailgate. But for now, we got to get rolling. I'm Katie Hudnall, and this is Inside the Thunder. We'll talk to you next time. Later.